of two sides. There's a lot of players back for Singleton first grade today, whereas Denman, they have been absolutely decimated by injuries and unavailability. And here is the side from 1 through to 14, and I think they've only got 15 players available today. So Denman will be all playing on pure heart today. Number 1, Zach Webb. Number 2, Andy Parks. Number 3, John Paul. 4, Andrew Carter. 5, Joy Sinclair. 6 is Jacob Ellis. 7 is Lukey Ruiz. 8, Jamie Carter. Carl Bowd is filling in at hooker for Adam Gretsch. Damien Bass. Nathan Barry, that is, at number 10. Tommy Mann is at second row. Tyson Wallace, I think, is having his first game in A grade. I think a couple of the others are too. Brady Bankovic at lock. Jackie Mann is on number 14, and number 16 will be Clayton Edwards. So the Denman Devils only have 2 subs at this stage. So if there's anything else to come out of that, Bailey, we'll try and get on top of that as soon as possible, mate. This side here for Denman in particular, not there. Probably it is a makeshift side, but I can guarantee you one thing: every guy out there will give him their very best. On the other hand, Singo, I know spoke to Lukey Holtz and Schultze earlier. A lot of players coming back, in particular James Bradley, Jakey Smith. I think Jake Hardy's been out as well. TJ is back, Tommy Johnson. So it's a really big day for the Singleton boys. It's their old boys' day. So they'll be very, very keen to put on a show here against this Denman Devils side. Any tips, Bale?
Well, I spoke to Gretchy before the game, and he's saying that about 8 or 9 of the players actually played yesterday for reserve grade, so well done to them. I suppose if they didn't do it, then probably would have been a forfeited game, so props to them, but yeah.
Absolutely right, Bay. It is a big arcs for a lot of these boys, and I think Muswellbrook defeated them handsomely yesterday. I think they were struggling to get a side as well. Here's a kick-off from Lukey Ruiz. It's gone deep, and there's a strong wind blowing, and it's coming down to the south, so it's coming from the west, and it is very, very strong. So Morgan Ebity gets his hands on the ball first up off the kick-off, and he's about 12 metres out from his own line, 20 in from touch. There's Jimmy Bradley. Jimmy Bradley's back, and always, this is Singleton's forte, Bailey. They love to run from dummy half. They're little men, and they certainly make inroads every time they get that ball and they go forward. So it's a big thing for the Denman side. They need to get their ruck speed and their ruck defence, and especially their A defender line really up into Singleton's face and try and put a stop to this real big go forward by the Singleton boys. Here's James Bradley, and really good for a good few sets of hands there. Dale Watson was amongst it as well. TJ at dummy half, it gets onto Jakey Hardy, puts it deep into the corner. Ball's dribbling into the in goal. He's trying to try and get out. But that's a good effort from Jai Sinclair. He's collected the ball. Now Denman, the hard work will have to happen right here. Zach Webb gets the ball and he works it out from his own line. Jacob Ellis at dummy half, he gives it on to Bankovic, and Bankovic goes forward, gets up to about 15 out, 20 in from touch, tackled there by Michael Rinkin. No, 12. Who's that? Yes, it is Mick Rinkin. And he's tackled there. That's Jamie Carter. They come down this short side. Carl Bowders at hooker at the moment. He gives it on to Tommy Mann. He's tackled there, 30 out from their own line. It's the last. They've only made about 30 metres. Jacob Ellis gets the ball and he kicks it down. It gets down to about 40-metre line. James Bradley is on top of it straight away. They've made great inroads out in previous games with Will Newenhouse out wide, Bailey. He is so dangerous out wide.
Yeah, he is a bit of a freak out there. So hard to tackle. Just so low to the ground and good centre of gravity. Yeah. Very hard to get down. And
there's that man again. He's just scoots from dummy half. He loves really attacking those inside defenders there. And if they fall asleep for 1 second, he just makes mincemeat of them. Here's Frank Paul. Gives the ball on to James Bradley.
Good tackle.
He slips through one. He's up on his feet again. He gets to the 20. Out from Denman line. TJ at dummy half. They go to this short side. Jake Hardy gets the ball. Jake Hardy dummies. He goes one way. I thought he was going to give it on to Michael Rinkin. Jesse Rudder's found an offside penalty there late in the penalty count. So another another repeat set of 6 here. I should say the first repeat set of 6 here. Quick tap restart from Tommy J. He gets the ball, he gives it on to Rinkin. Rinkin swivels out of 1, swivels out of 2, and he's held there only half a metre out from the Denman line. Don't be surprised if TJ Early goes himself here. No, long pass out to Dale Watson, short pass to Frank Paul. Frank Paul boots one, flick passes it back on to Jake Hardy. Jake Hardy, long ball out to Simon. Long ball out to the winger. Who's that? Is that Morgan Emity? Morgan Emity comes under one. He gets very close. Ball goes out the back short. No, it does to Jakey Smith. On to TJ. TJ gives a short pass over to Frank Paul. Pops it over to Dale Watson. Thank you very much. And his momentum carried him over the line despite a tackle by Jacob Ellis around the legs. That repeat set didn't help them whatsoever. But certainly you can see the pattern of the day with Singleton. They are not afraid to let the ball do the work here. It's like a game of touch football early.
Well, just the class of Frank Paul there, holding the ball like it's a tennis ball. Gets tackled, then over the top, easy offload.
No question. Frank Paul on a couple of occasions, he give that backhand pass there early in that set, and then again there they went on him and they had him wrapped up. But like you said, Bailey, just looked like a marble in his hands. Frank Paul, he just had great deliverance there to his outside man, and Dale Watson is backing him up superbly there early.
Yep. Just interesting seeing James Bradley at number 1, usually in the 6. Jake Hardy must be doing a good job there to keep James Bradley out of position.
Yeah, well, Jake Hardy in previous games early in the season, Bailey, has been playing in the centres, and Will Newenhouse was at fullback and James was at 5'8", like you said, when Jakey Smith was at halfback. So it is a bit of probably as they're leading into the semi-finals, I'd say Jai is trying to work some things out and just fill some holes there for the Singleton Greyhounds. Here's Will Newenhouse. 20 out, 15 in. 15 out, 20 in from touch. He moves in trying to convert this try to Dale Watson. Does so just inside the right upright. The wind helped that out immensely. They're running with the breeze, I'd say, early in the first half here. The Singleton Greyhounds, it's 6 points to 0. We've had 5 minutes of the first half in the Bengalla Group 21 scoreboard.
Last matching jumper. Takes Singleton to 6.
Early on, Bailey, James Bradley and the likes of Michael Rinkin, and they've been outstanding. Their go-forward's been so solid. Here's Zach Simon, and Simon loves running with the ball. They've got to go him low. They've got to get him low early, fellas, and that's the whole deal. I think, he must be close there, Corey Martin. I thought he was going to lift that flag up over there. He's... who's that? Number 11, I think that's Jakey Willis. Jakey Willis has taken a ball up there. He's just shy of halfway. Good tackle by a few of the boys there from Denman. Here's Dale Watson. You need to go low on Dale Watson onto Frank Paul out the back of the hand. He comes to Jacob Ellis. Another one onto Jake Hardy. Plenty of runners, and that pass went loose. And Ethan Coe had a try line in front of him, and it was just a sloppy pass there. But certainly the pattern of the day, Bailey, is Dale Watson onto Frank Paul, and Frank Paul is doing everything he can not to get tackled with the ball. Those couple of real slick passes from Watson and Frank Paul have been down this short side here, have been outstanding.
He loves his offloads, Frank Paul.
Yeah, look, the bigger boys from the Singleton, I mean, Dale Watson, he runs a little bit upright, but you've certainly, someone's got to get across and just cut his legs down from under him. If you go high on these boys, they're big units and they're just going to shrug you off. So at some point you've got to, make that commitment to go low and just chomp them down. Here's Zach Webb from the scrum food, gets out to about 28 out from his own line. Here's Nathan Barry. His go forward's been really good all year, Bazzers, and he doesn't shirt away from that task, and he's hitting a really good tackle there by Solomon. They're 32 out from their own line. Benkovic down the short side. He jinks around. He's tackled on the 40 by TJ and also Dale Watson. Carl Bowd at dummy half gets a ball onto Barry. Short pass on to Jamie Carter, and Carter gets up. He's only a couple of metres shy of halfway. Good tackle down below. low from Jake Willis and Frank Paul over the top. Here's Jacob Ellis. Jacob Ellis, take the line on Jacob. He gets over halfway, gets under a high shot from Tommy Johnson and also Jake Hardy. They know each other very well. Here's Benkovic. I think that's the first kick he may have ever put in on the fifth and last. It goes down. It bounces really kindly for Jimmy Bradley, who collects it on his own 10. He gets out up over his 20 line and he's centre field. Ball goes there to Ethan Coe and Coe gets the ball. He charges forward. He gets out to his own 30. This Denman line, they have to be a little bit urgent in defence here. Here's Gardner, takes off from dummy half and he runs into a couple of really good tackles. John Paul and Carl Bowd there. They come Newenhouse. This is his favourite role. He goes down that blind side. He gets under one. He gets under two. He's got great leg speed. You've got to go low as best as you can. He goes hard and what a great run from Will. 30-metre run. He's up to the Denman 30. Here's Frank Paul full of running. Short pass, no. He goes himself. He's dragged down there. Really good tackle there. Had to be made, but it was a quick play the ball. Jake Smith gets the ball. He's looking for a cut-out pass, and he does. He gives it out the back to Jake Willis. It goes under his hands. I thought Morgan Emmety picked it up, but Jesse Rudder has called that it did go forward. I think all the Singleton boys there are looking at look of bewilderment there. I don't know if that did go forward, Bailey.
No, I think they called knock on. I don't know.
So it may have went through Jake Willis's hands there. Here's Nathan Bowery from the restart to Denman. He's up over his own 20, kicked out of one or two defenders. Carl Bowd at dummy half. Gets it on to Jamie Carter. And they go forward from these boys. They'll just try their hardest all game. There's no question about that. He's centre field 30 out from his own line. On to Zach Webb, and Zach Webb charges into the Singleton defence. Centre field still, just shy of the 40. Here's Benkovic. Benkovic goes forward again. He charges and he gets just up to halfway. Good run from the young fella. Bowdy at dummy half. He comes down this short side to Jacob Ellis. Jacob Ellis shows it under. Gives it out to John Paul. He goes into Lukey Gardner. And Gardner, and with the help of Ethan Coe, they wrestle him down. Tommy Johnson was over the top as well. Jake Ellis at dummy half. Gets the ball on to Bowdy. Bowdy, I think, is going to put an in midfield bomb on. Not the greatest bomb in the world, but I think that's a knock on. Zach Webb's picked the ball up, gives it on. No, I don't think he touched. There's no advantage being played there, surely. He can't play the advantage there. It's got to go back to Denman. So there was two knock-ons there, and Jesse Rudder. No, Jesse Rudder's saying there was no advantage. The ball didn't go in front of the indiscretion from Zach Solomon. How was that 60? How's that there was no advantage paid there. Really interesting ruling there by Jesse Rudder. There was no advantage. You're allowed to chance your hand, but you've got to go past where the initial infringement happened, and I don't think the Denman boys got an opportunity to go in front of where Zach Solomon fumbled that ball. So here's a lucky break for the Singleton side. Nevertheless, here's Morgan Emmety charging down the sideline off the scrum feed, and he's tackled there a couple of metres over the 40-38 up for a quick play the ball. Here's Newenhouse, takes off from dummy half. He goes himself. He comes to Zach Webb. All the Denman boys are really struggling to get back on side. That was an ordinary play the ball, and Jesse Rudder spotted it. So there's a turnover.
Good bit of luck there for Denman. Singleton looked like they had a good roll on going there. So
what do you think of that call up here, babe?
Yeah, I don't know.
Do you think there was an advantage to Denman at all?
Yeah, I don't know.
Feel free. There was no advantage to Denman.
Well, it was a blatant knock on by the Singleton.
Oh, yes, someone knocked it on, but Zach Webb picked it up. But, it doesn't matter. I don't think there was an advantage being paid. Nevertheless, Denman have got a scrum food, 30 out from their own line, 20 in from touch. They got lucky there with a ordinary play the ball by the Singleton boys. Here's Andrew Carter, and Carter gets the ball. He takes it up over his own 30, centre field. Bowdy at dummy half gets the ball onto Zach Webb. Standing still, the boys, but they're doing their best to go forward. Good tackle from Bradley and also Jakey Hardy. He gets up over his own 40. Bowd at dummy half down the short side here to Benkovic. Benkovic charges in the defence, gets up to halfway. Plenty of runners. They're trying to look for a quick play the ball. Not allowed. Here's Jamie Carter, I should say. Gets up inside of the Singleton half now. Bout at dummy half. They go down that short side there onto Reese, onto big number 12, which is Tyson Wallace, and Wallace gets the ball. He's inside the Singleton 40. It's the last tackle. Goes to Lukey Reese. Lukey Reese puts a grubber kick into no man's land there. There's no one there. Jacob Ellis gets the ball. He fumbles it, and there's an accidental offside. Never mind. It's a Denman ball from a scrum. Yeah, that ball was bouncing everywhere, and poor old Ethan Coe.
He didn't want a bar of it.
Yeah, well, I don't think he had much opportunity, Ethan, because it was all over the shop. But a lucky break for the Denman side there. They're going to find themselves with a scrum feed. 15 out, about 20 in from touch from the Singleton line. They can put some points on the board here early. They might get some confidence, the Denman boys.
Well, they're definitely playing with a lot of heart in the first 15 minutes. They're not stepping back, which is good signs early.
Here's Jacob Ellis with a scrum feed. Ball goes out the back to Lukey Ruiz. On to Zach Webb, the more experienced players in this Denman side at the moment. There's not a lot of them. I think some of these boys are playing their first game today, or only maybe at least a handful of games off the bench. Here's Benkovic. He goes short. He runs straight into Jake Smith. He's only a couple of metres out. TJ was there, as always. Them two have had a battle royale. Here's Zach Webb. They get the ball, and he's going to be dragged down only a metre out from the Denman Singleton line. And Jesse Rudder's found an ordinary play the ball. Yeah, you've got to get out of that. You've just got to get out of that stupid stuff when you're getting up to play the ball. That was only the second, and these opportunities for Denman may not come along too often here today.
No.
So you've got to really make the most of every opportunity you get with a full set of 6 inside the opposition's 20, Bailey.
I was just going to say, does Webby have the 1 or the 10 on today? Is there a 0?
What's that, mate?
Webby, is there a 0 missing from his jersey? He's taken about 50 hit-ups.
Yeah, between there's a few of them there. Here's Jay Carty, gives the ball out to Luke Gardner. Here's another guy. You've got to go low early because he's looking to unload it. He's tackled well by... who's that? That number 5, Jai Sinclair. He's Jacob Ellis and Benkovic tackling, I think that's Morgan Emity, who's come from the opposite side. He's just shy of his own 40, Bradley. At dummy half, onto Jakey Hardy, onto Dale Watson, and Watson is dragged down 42 metres out from his own line. Good tackle by the boys. They've got to sustain it. Here's Jake Smith.
40-20.
Left kick. He puts it down with the aid of the assistance of the wind. It's going to bounce inside the Denman in goal. Webb's back there to pick it up. He goes out. There's a full line of Singleton defenders there. They're everywhere. Great kick chase there by the Greyhounds. Here's Andrew Carter. Takes the ball. He gives it on to the young fella there. I'm just not sure who that is. Andy Parks. Is that the fullback, the young boy? No, number 2. Number 2 that was. Yeah, it was Andy Parks. My apologies. He's come in. I think that's Andy Parks' first game for the season for the Devils. There's John Paul taking it up, about 25 out from his own line. Onto Benkovic. He bounces off Dale Watson, but he's hit in the end by Jake Hardy and Lukey Gardner. He gets up to play the ball. Carl Bout at dummy half onto Luke Ruiz. That's not the last, I don't think, but he gets the ball. He has to go himself, Lukey Ruiz, and he's tackled. This is the last now. Tackled on his own 40. 20 in from touch. Ball goes out the back to Jacob Ellis. Ellis puts a kick down. Bradley shouldn't have any issues with that whatsoever. He doesn't. Collects it about 21 metres out from his own line. He runs to that side. There, he's through. He's beaten 1. He's beaten 2. He's got inside support from Jake Willis, and Willis is going to there. Tommy Mann's in support. Also Andy Parks. He gives a flick pass out the back to nobody. It went to ground. I know Jai Bailey will be absolutely spewing over that. That was a try gone begging for the Singleton Greyhounds. Good support there by Andy Parks and a couple of the other Denman defenders who did their very best to get back there and shut down the play. Here's Andrew Carter. You're going to try and ruck the ball out now from their own 10-metre red zone here. Bailey, a let-off for the Devils there, mate.
Yeah, I think the Denman boys will be pleased with that result. There was a few... Well, that tackle was made on the 10-metre line, and there was about 4 or 5 back on the 40-metre line, so I think the Denman boys thought that was a try, so...
Yeah. Tommy Mann was the other bloke there that was out there helping in defence. Here's Zach Webb. Long cut-out pass to nobody, Webby. That was not one of your best, but look, he chanced his arm and unfortunately it didn't come off. You've got to try these things. They were inside the Singleton half, so that ball, Jesse's calling it forward, which is rightfully so. So it's going to be a Singleton scrum feed, 40 out from their own line and 20 in from touch. 6-0 here. after 17 minutes of the first half in the Bengalla Group 21. I think it's round 11 clash.
I think so.
4 rounds to go after this before the semis, Bailey. I think both these sides have got Scone, Denman to play in their last 4 rounds. So both these two teams will play Scone and Denman twice.
Aberdeen.
Leading into the semis. What a run home that is. Fair income.
Aberdeen, Benko, not
Aberdeen.
Denman.
What did I say?
Denman.
Sorry. Denman and Singleton have got Aberdeen and Scone twice in their last 4 rounds. Here's the Singleton boys. On to Bradley. Gives it inside to Luke Gardner. Luke Gardner goes forward. Tries to unload it, but good tackle from Tommy Mann and Benkovic. 22 metres out from the... 22 metres out from the Denman line, on to Dale Watson, and Watson gets the ball and he gets 15 metres out centre field. They've got a line set here on this short side. TJ goes from dummy half, he gives it to Frank Paul, swivels around, beats 1, beats 2, he's still shrugging off players, no one wants to go low. Great tackle from Nathan Barry. Drags him back a couple of metres. Well tackled, Baz. Ball goes out the back to Jake Hardy. Jake Hardy's got plenty of room to move. He gives it on to Luke Gardner. Someone's got to go low. Good tackle, Jacob Ellis on the last. That was a really good defensive set by the Denman side. And I think Nathan Barry set the scene there with a one-on-one tackle on big Frank Paul, Bailey.
Well, I was surprised Frank Paul even held on to the ball then.
He tried to unload it. Like he had the ball with one hand and he tried to unload it and did his very best. But Nathan Barry was taking him backwards. But I thought there would have been more support there for Frank Paul, especially 15 metres out from the Denman line. Here they're trying to get out of their own red zone here, and ball goes from Zach Webb and it gets on to Jamie Carter. And Carter's tackled 20 out from his own line, 20 in from touch. Bowdy at dummy half gives a short pass to Nathan Barry. Charges at the defence, makes good 8-9 metres. Well done, Nathan Barry. Bowdy at dummy half. There's not much going on. They're not deep, but they're doing their very best. Here's Jacob Ellis out the back to Zach Webb. Zach Webb gives the ball on to Jai Sinclair. Go infield, son. Zach Solomon gets him and rounds him up, and a great tackle from the front rower. Big Jai Sinclair, the young fella, he did his very best there to take the ball up over halfway, but Zach Solomon lined him up from Maitland and took him over the sideline there. Good effort from the defence and the attack there for the Denman boys, and great defence by Solomon.
Well, yeah, once again, Denman, they're shifting the ball and they're making good meters, but yeah, you just got to try them things, and I don't think they'll be too disappointed with the error.
No, that was a good effort, the young bloke. And again, there's another guy. I can't remember calling Jai Sinclair's name this year for the Denman boys, but he's filling in really well.
He's under 18.
Just got told by Denman legend Mort Barry that he's an under 18 player, so well done to young Jai. Here's the ball off the scrum feed out to Jake Smith onto James Bradley. James Bradley's got plenty of room to move. He looked to unload it to Morgan Emity. He's tackled by Andrew Carter. He gets back up, not complete, and he makes another 10 metres. He finds himself about 35 out from the Denman line, 15 in from touch. Ball goes on to Jake Willis, I should say. He runs into Benkovic and Tommy Mann and Nathan Barry. The three of them drag him down inside the 30, 29 metres out. Looking for a quick play the ball, but Nathan Barry's all over him like a rash. Ball goes out to Zach Solomon, and Solomon goes into the Denman defence. Good tackle by Jamie Carter and Bowdy over the top. 21 metres out. Ball goes to the left. Brodie Rinkin's very, very hard to pull down. He loves running from dummy half. He gets it back from Frank Paul. There's plenty of numbers there. He steps in 1, steps in 2, and he goes over and scores a really good try from Brodie Rinkin. He was very dangerous though. Last time these two teams met down here, Bailey, when Singleton had a number of players out, and Brodie Rinkin was outstanding from dummy half, and he continued that form with another great dummy half run. Handed it off to Frankie Paul. Frank Paul gave a good wrap around to him after he hit the defence, and Brodie did the rest of the work and was rewarded with a very, very good try.
Well, I was just about to say, Singleton just need to stay patient when they get down in the good ball area. They're trying their arm, and a few of them are getting white line fever because the Denman's defence isn't really throwing much at them defensively, and I think the Singleton boys just think they can run around them and score, and that's why there's been a few errors early on by Singleton. The score's only now 10-0, but yeah, they just need to stay patient, and the points will come for the Singleton boys.
Yeah, you've made a good point there, Bailey. That white line fever. I think everyone wants to have a shot at trying to score here on Old Boys Day. It's a bit of a badge of honour for the boys. If you can score on Old Boys Day, you give it a shot. I see Dale Watson's come off the field, and number 16, Cody Argent, has come on. Number 14 is also on. I also said that, Brody Rinkin, he was just rewarded with a really good try. So it's 10-0. We've got just under 18 minutes to go here in the first half of the Bengalla Group 21 clash, and Will Newenhouse is going to try and convert this try. Moves in, strikes it. Looked pretty good from the time it left the boot. It's 12 points to nil here at Pirtek Park on Singleton Old Boys Day. In earlier grades, I think here's the scores we have in earlier grades. 37-6 from Singleton defeated Denman, and in the reserve grade, Singleton defeated Murrundi 30 points to 4. Not sure about the girls' score line, but I do believe the Murrundi girls had a victory over Singleton, and we'll try and find that score. If not today, we'll give you a bit of an update on all those scores on the couch on Thursday night. Here's Luke Reeves with the kick restart. Goes down to that area in the wind. It goes straight into Jakey Smith, and he gives the ball on to Solomon. And Solomon's been full of running today, and he gets through one, gets through another, and they still can't put him to ground. Someone has to go low. That's all you can ever ask for. Put your body on the line and just try and get them legs and chop them down. And there's a penalty. That's a really, really ordinary penalty to give away on off a kick-off. 30 out from their own line. Singleton will find themselves well deep into Denman's half here. Straight after scoring a try. That's a cardinal sin, Bailey.
Coach killer.
Yep, you're going to have a tap restart right on halfway, and Brody Rinkin's that man. He's gone on, and I think TJ has gone back to lock, and that's why Dale Watson's come off, and Brody Rinkin's gone into hooker, and TJ's gone back into that familiar role of lock forward where he's played a number of times this season. Ball goes on to Cody Argent, and Argent goes into the Denman defence. Good attempted tackle there by Andrew Carter and Lukey Ruiz. He's up over the 40. Ball goes again from Rinkin onto Solomon. Solomon runs into Carter. And there's a couple of other boys there that have dragged him down as well. Benkovic and Carl Bowd. They're inside the Denman's 30. Onto Smith. Long ball out to Frank Paul. He'll look to backhand it again, as he did to Rinkin. Rinkin gives the ball to Luke Gardner, and Jacob Ellis drags him down. Tries to get up again. He does unload it onto Jimmy Bradley. Jimmy Bradley gives a short pass on to Tommy Johnson. Tommy Johnson's trying to struggle his way over the line. There's about 3 or 4 Denman players there. I think they've only got to send it left and they'll score here, boys. Here's Rinkin. Rinkin jumps out of dummy half, looks to give a short pass, and he's going to score. He's reached out and scored himself. The defence were looking out to the supporters out to the left, to namely James Bradley, but Brody Rinkin went himself from dummy half. The defence just didn't move up. They tried their hardest, and Brody Rinkin reached out and got the ball right on the line there and scored a very good individual try there. Got to watch this guy. He's very, very good off the bench, Brody Rinkin.
Just seeing Tommy Johnson there getting some attention by the trainer. Looks like a...
Has he done? He might have pulled a groin muscle, or is that an arm? He's holding a...
Might be the gonads.
He's He's holding his favourite spot. Put it that way. 16 points to nil, and we've had. It'll be just under 14 minutes of this first half to go in the Bengalla Group 21 clash. Round 11 clash. There's 4 games to go, as I've mentioned earlier, Bailey. Both these sides have got to play Aberdeen and Scone twice in their last 4 rounds. A big arcs for both these sides, but this side of Singleton, they're starting to look something like they're the team that I'm sure Jai Bailey will want on the paddock come semi-final in the back end of this regular season. I don't think there's much difference to Will Newenhouse is going to make this conversion from the last one. He moves in, steps in, clears it straight over the post, and it is 18 points to nil. Just under 14 minutes to go here in the first half down here at Pirtek Park. Very vocal, the old boys here, Bailey. You're an old boy, aren't you?
Oh, 1 year at Singleton, yeah.
As a junior.
I suppose you could say that.
As a junior, you're an old boy. That's good. Here's Lukey Roos with the kick restart. Ball fell over before he kicked it, but it only went down to the 10-metre line, and TJ picks the ball up and he goes straight back into the Denman defence, and he finds Benkovic tackled him right on his own 30. Ball goes on to, who's that? I can't see that boy there, Bailey. Doesn't matter, we'll get onto it. Ball goes Jimmy Bradley, takes off from dummy half. He runs to Benkovic and Carl Bowd, and he gets up over halfway only just. Here's Brodie Rinkin at dummy half onto Jake Hardy. Short pass out to Michael Rinkin. Good tackle from Jacob Ellis. He read it well, and he's trying to do a one-on-one strip, but in doing so, he's got it. Well done, Jacob. I thought he was going to call Hill, Jesse Rudder, but he got a one-on-one strip on his own 40, Jacob Ellis, and he gets up and plays the ball to Benkovic onto Jamie Carter. At least they've got to try and at least get over halfway in this set of 6 and try and get a repeat set of 6, Bailey.
And an error.
What did he do? Poor old Jamie Carter made a meal of it at trying to get up and play it. But keep your head up, son. You'll be right.
Just about to mention, the referees really let the game flow. I think there's only been one penalty today.
It might have only been 1 or 2, but yeah, both sides have probably been their worst enemies at this point. The Singleton Greyhounds, they lead 18 points to 0, but in saying that, we've had close to 30 minutes of play, 28 minutes of play, and Singleton have probably coughed up the ball in some real good try-scoring positions, but they're going to have a really good field position here. Scrum feed to Jake Hardy, 32 metres out from the Denman line. From the base of the scrum goes to TJ out to Jake Smith, onto James Bradley. Loves getting on the outside of his opposition. Go on to Morgan Amity. Morgan Amity goes close to the line. He tackled, but he gets up and plays on. Scores in the corner. Great try to Morgan Amity. James Bradley set that try up. He loves to go in and out on his opposition, Bailey, and Jimmy Bradley was outstanding there, and Morgan Amity. Those two guys know each other's game inside out as they've played juniors together and representative games together, and Morgan Amity, superb effort there to score. I thought that Lukey Roos or Andrew Carter, I'm not sure who pulled him down a couple of metres out, but he got back up and scored in the corner. So we've got 22 points to 0, 11 minutes to go, Bale.
Yeah, it was a good effort there by Andrew Carter there. I thought he had him out there nearly, but obviously couldn't hold him down. Morgan Amity gets back up and scores that try. But yeah, I think Singleton's starting to get away with it here now. Yeah, well, as I said, I feel a little bit sorry for Jamie Carter there. He got up to play the ball, and unfortunately, he just dribbled it in attempting to do so, and that turnover to Singleton was just it was another coach killer. But these things happen. That guy that came on for Singleton, Bailey, I couldn't find out who it was. I have a feeling that is young Matty Brock, number 15. We'll get to the bottom of it in a second. Bit of a test here for Will Newhouse into the breeze from the sideline.
Call it, Bo. Call it.
I'll back him.
He's a good kick. Don't worry about that. What is he? 25 out, 1 metre in from touch. Against the breeze, he strikes it. It looks damn good, but it's waved away from Anthony Worth and Corey Martin. Score is 22 points to 0. We've got, by the time they get back to halfway, we'll have 9 minutes of play. They need a couple of really good sets, and Bailey, correct me if I'm wrong, Denman have only had one attacking set inside Singleton's 20.
Yeah, you're correct there, Benko.
Yeah, they've just got to... It's going to be few and far between, but they've just got to not get frustrated and just go through their roles and see what they can come up with. Here's Lukey Roos with another kick restart. It goes straight down to is that not Morgan Amity?
Cody Argent.
That's Cody Argent. He gets up over to his own 40. Or towards his own 40, 35 out from his own line. Will Newhouse at dummy half gives it on to Matty Brock, and Brock charges at the line. Good tackle around the legs by Benkovic. Over the top was Jamie Carter. Here's Tommy. No, that was Jake Hardy. No, it wasn't. It was Brodie Rinkin. He gives the ball on to James Bradley, and Bradley's tackled on Denman's 40. Here's Will Newhouse from dummy half. Takes off. Good leg speed. He gets into up over his own 30, over Denman's 30, I should say. Centre field ball. They've got plenty of numbers out here on the right hand side. TJ gives it on to Frank Paul. Frank Paul comes to Jacob Ellis. He flicks past passes into Michael Rinkin. He gets to one player, spins out of another, and he's tackled 10 metres out on the last. They need to get off the line in defence there, boys. Here's James Bradley. Jake Hardy gives a short pass on to James Bradley. He's going to get taken over the sideline, and there's a set that didn't come to anything. Jimmy Bradley tried that backhand pass to Ethan Coe, but it went to ground behind Ethan Coe, and Benkovic just cleaned it up there. So it's going to be a Denman restart. There's not a lot of people putting their hands up here to run this ball out from 1 metre in from touch, 5 metres out from their own line. So John Paul, Benkovic at dummy half, gives it on to John Paul. He is standing flat there, and he tries to get up, and he's just shy of his own 10-metre line. Singleton looked very, very strong. I think they jumped the gun there, but Tommy Mann nevertheless ran forward. Good run from Tommy. He's up to about 15 out from his own line. Benkovic at dummy half gives a short pass on to Zachy Webb, who's full of run. He gets a good run from Zachy Webb, and he gets up 25 out from his own line. Benkovic's gone to hooker at the moment, I'd say, onto Jacob Ellis. Ellis gets it out to Luke Ruiz, onto Jamie Carter, who's standing out there on the fringe, and he's hitting a good tackle around the legs by Jakey Smith, and Frank Paul over the top. Centre field, just shy of the 30. On to Benkovic. Benkovic gives a cut-out pass to Andy Parks, and young Parksy gets the ball. Here's Benkovic at dummy half, and he tries to put the ball down there. He's looking, and it bounces. Good kick from him too. It's his second kick in his career. Jimmy Bradley collects it inside his own 10. He comes forward, and he goes to Benkovic, and good tackle. Good kick chase from young Benko. Who's number 16? Clayton Edwards. That's young Clayton Edwards is on for Denman at the moment, and I think Carl Bowd's off. Good run there. Who's that boy? Carl's out. Mort, tell me who's off, buddy. I can't see. 12's off. Number 12's off. So who's that? Tyson Wallace is off. Here's Matty Brock gives the ball out to Will Newhouse. Tries a little chip over the top. He gets it back, but he's knocked it on Will Newhouse, and Tommy Mann's going to clean it up. He gives a short pass out to Zachy Webb. There's no advantage played there, but he's going to play on anyway, so they'll get a set there inside their own 20, Denman. In the background, Benkovic receives attention from Peter Ball. Here's Tommy Mann, charges forward, and he gets up over his own 20, about 20 in from touch as well. They're doing it hard here, the Denman boys, but their go forward is still there. Here's Nathan Barry. Nathan Barry gets the ball, and he gets up. Good run from Nathan Barry. Really good run from Baz. He gets up over his own 30. Frank Paul at dummy half gives it on to Zachy Webb, and Webb charges up. He gets to the 40. Not a bad set, seeing where they collected the ball. Good run. Frank Paul gives the ball on to Luke Ruiz. Luke Ruiz puts it down to a vacant corner, and it's going to bounce sideways. It does, and Ethan Coe's going to collect it 25 out from his own line. Runs to Jai Sinclair and Jacob Ellis, and Jacob Ellis tries a one-on-one strip to no avail, and Singleton are going to get up, and they're playing it 38 out from his own line. Here's Jimmy Bradley. Loves to go wide and pick up his runners. Morgan Ebony's there. Gives a short pass on to Jimmy Bradley, and Jimmy Bradley with that wrap around gets up over the Denman 40. Centre field there, left and right options everywhere. He's Rinkin at dummy half, takes off, loves finding that little gap there. He's got the fullback to beat. He comes to Zach Webb. He's go round Webb. He's going to score a try from centre field, 40 out. Brodie Rinkin full of run, and the guy has to be watched on every occasion. He just caught a lot of tired Denman defenders there, Bailey.
Blinking, you'll miss him. He fucking shot out of dummy half there and made Webby look a bit silly at fullback there, but
Number 14, Brodie Rinkin.
Can't blame Webby for that one.
26.
Well, what's happening is Rinkin's jumping out. Brodie Rinkin's jumping out from dummy half, and there's plenty of Singleton runners there. And so I think that outside defence is just waiting for him to pass it. But the guy is just so good when he takes off. He throws a little dummy, but he's got his 5 metre, 10 metre speed is just dynamic. And well done to Brodie Rinkin. He's certainly made an impact since he come on. Just under 4 minutes to go here. It's, 26-0 in favour of the Greyhounds, the home side. I see Jamie Carter's coming off, Bailey, and Tyson Wallace is coming back on. Just had a couple of minutes spell there. I think these boys will look forward to this half-time break, Bailey.
Yeah, it'll be definitely well-deserved for the Denman boys, but they've tried their hardest out there for the first 40 minutes, and as you said, I'm sure they'll be looking forward for a well-deserved breather.
Yeah, with only 3 minutes to go. Interesting interchange there. I don't know whether they should have probably left Jamie Carter on there with 3 minutes to go, Bailey. But anyway, we'll talk about that. For Will Newhouse has moved in to attempt the conversion. Does so successfully. 28 points to nil. Bailey, with 3 minutes to go, I don't know whether Gretschy should have made that interchange. He might have wasted one that he may need in the second half.
I was just about to say, you probably need them interchanges for about 20 minutes to go, especially if you only got 2 on the interchange bench there. But who knows, there might have been something wrong with Jamie Carter. He might have needed to come off. But
yeah, good point. Good point. I'll just get the nod off Mort. Is Andy Parks an under-18 player? So we've got 2 under-18 wingers playing here. Did they play today? So they both played under-18s today and backing up here in first grade. So hats off to those 2 youngsters for really digging deep and coming to the core from Gretschy. So really well done to Andy Parks and Jai Sinclair. And I'm sure a number of them also played yesterday, Mort as well. Here's Morgan Emery from dummy half off the kick restart, and he gets up to his own 40 before he's manhandled in a good tackle there. He's Will Newhouse. This guy is so good from dummy half, and Benkovic comes again and tackles him down there. He was up over halfway. Ball goes to Rinken onto Jake Smith, onto TJ. They've got numbers everywhere. Tommy Johnson clears through. He looks on the fullback to beat. He beats one. He comes to Benkovic, who stumbles him over, but he falls over the try line, TJ, and scores another try to the Singleton Greyhounds. He's got good leg speed as well. These what do we call them? The smaller guys, Bailey, Will Newhouse, Brodie Rinken and Tommy Johnson, out of dummy half with Jakey Smith. They just have to really be watched because they love running at those tight defenders, and they're making every post a winner right now. It's 32 points to nil. The countdown clock is inside a minute, so they'll go to the half-time break if this kick's successful at 34-0. Bailey.
Well, yeah, as you said, TJ out of dummy half, always playing lock at the moment, I think, but obviously starting the game at 9. But as you said, him and Brodie Rinken, when they get the 9, you know something's got to happen, especially if there's lazy markers and tight defenders around the ruck. So, yeah, TJ too quick from there, and he's busted through pretty well untouched, really. But
yeah, he got to Webby, and Webby tripped him up somewhat, and then with a metre to go, he was still crawling. Young Benko came across and hit him again, but his momentum carried him over the try line. So the full-time siren will go as we will be. Will Newhouse will be moving in to make this kick, and he's trying to make it 34 points to nil here at half-time if this is successful. He's 20 out, 15 in from touch. Got the win with him anyway, Bay.
Going left.
You've called it. He didn't have any dramas with that, Will Newhouse. He's a very, very good goal kicker. And 34 points to nil here at half-time at Pirtek Park in the Bengalla. Group 21 clash, round 11 clash, I should say. We'll be back after half-time. Back on for the second half here. 34 points to nil in favour of the home team. Singleton. It's been an impressive display at the back end of that first half. Bailey Ellis, thanks for filling in today. The boys are up at Scone. Joshy Day and Reggie Reynolds are up at Scone. I think doing that game live on MixLR. Two very good tales here. Singleton have been somewhat using the game as practice, really, haven't they, in some aspects. They're just letting the ball do the work for them. Whilst Denman, I think they've only visited Singleton's 20 on one occasion. So it's a big arch for the Devils. And the ball off the kick restart into this second half. And he gives it to Nathan Barry and on his own 10-metre line. Nathan Barry gets the ball, drops it on his run through. Poor old Baz. Picked up by Brodie Rinken, who ran over and scored underneath the post straight off the kick-off. Well, I don't think I've seen that ever happen in a rugby league match, Bailey.
That didn't have to be a record for the quickest try after
A restart.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, it was about 11 seconds, I think, I looked when he scored.
Well, you know, if I can say one thing, it's all I can say is to Nathan Barry, mate, shit happens. And it's not a great, mate. You're doing your best, Baz. Hold your head up. There's nothing you can do about it, champion. To Singleton's credit, they pounced on it and they came up with the bickies. Straight off the second half restart, and that takes the score to 38 0. Will Newhouse is directly in front. He won't have any dramas with this, so that'll take the score to 40 0. Yeah, look, that's as easy as you like there, unfortunately. See, the old boys for Singleton have moved up to our commentary area, Bailey. So we'll might have to talk a little bit louder here over the top of them. Newhouse moves in, converts the try. Has Brady Rinkin scored 3 tries?
I was just about to say that.
He's come off the bench and scored 3 tries. Four tries since he's come off the bench. That is absolutely incredible. That may never have happened either, Bailey.
4 tries for a sub.
Super sub Brody Rinkin. Super sub.
Conversion successful for Will Newhouse.
I hope this is coming through okay, because there's a lot of noise up here on the balcony at the Singleton clubhouse. Ball goes down to off the kick restart, and it goes over to Ethan Coe, and he collects it in his own in goal. He's full running, Ethan Coe, and he's ran across field about 40 metres. He gets through 2-3 defenders, and he gets out to his own 40. Centre field, great run from Ethan Coe. Andrew Charters pulls him down. I've been calling him Andrew Carter. I don't know why, but I've been calling him Andrew Carter. He unloads the ball onto Morgan Emity. Morgan Emity goes 40. Beaten 1, beaten 2. He's still full of running, Morgan Emity. He gets the ball. He's going to come down this left-hand side, happy as you like, and he unloads the ball onto Jake Smith. He's only got 1 or 2 players to beat, and Jake Smith will go over and score a try. That's a 100-metre effort from the Singleton Greyhounds, Bailey. All started from Ethan Coe, who collected the ball off the kick-off in his own in-goal.
Well, it's probably another record. 2 tries in 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, what sort of effort by Morgan Emity there as well, Bailey?
Well, he had spiders on him, didn't he? Probably had every bloke in the Denman team touch him, but none of them can get him down.
Number 7, Jake Smith.
Well, just like that, it's now 46-0 or 44-0, but I don't think we'll have any trouble kicking this goal.
No.
He's only missed one all day, and that was on the sideline, and a bit of a breeze into him. So
the unfortunate thing here for Denman is that there's still 36 minutes to go. That defence has just got to pick up a little bit, or a lot. They've unfortunately for them, for Denman, the Singleton side are full of running. They got the scoreboard happening. 46 points to 0 this will be. He will not miss this, Will Newhouse. What is he, 15 out from the line, 21 metres in from touch. He moves in, strikes it as clean as you like. That will be 46 points to 0 on the Group 21 Bengalla Round 11 clash. So, Bailey, on this form here, in terms of the Singleton side, let's forget the opposition just for a second, but this Singleton side is starting to look like the first grade that I'm sure Jai Bailey would want on the paddock come the back end of this season.
Well, yeah, as you said, there's got about 3 or 4 blokes come back from a lengthy period away from the game, so it's probably a good time for them to start gelling as a team and really stamping a mark in this competition.
Frank Paul gets the ball off the kick restart. He gives it over to Matty Brock. Mack on to Jake Smith, and Jake Smith gives it on to Emity again. He's charging, and good tackle from young Andrew Charters. He gets up over halfway, in fact, inside the 40. Newhouse goes from dummy half again. That's what he does best. Not a great tackle from Tyson Wallace, and Tommy Mann pulls him down 28 metres out from the Denman line. Here's Brodie Rinkin, the super sub, again goes forward from dummy half. 15 out from the Denman line. Here's TJ, John to Jakey Smith on the short side. Gives it on to Cody Argent, and Cody Argent goes for a couple of guys there that I don't think they even call touch, Bailey. Unfortunately for them, he had a great left foot step and he goes over 40. That brings up the half century with 34 minutes still on the clock. And that defence was very, very flimsy down this short side, Bailey.
Well, yeah, there was probably a few phantom touches called there as well. I don't even think they really laid a hand on him there, but too easy for Singleton. They come down the short side on the second tackle, made about 50-metre run by Morgan Emmy, and then just played off the back of that.
And that was from the set after that's the first set after the kick restart off the previous try, and that short side through Jakey Smith onto Cody Argent was just outstanding. Morgan Emity again on the wing here made great meters, and Andrew Charters pulled him down on the Denman 40. But from there it went in one, and then they just let the ball down this short side do their work. And a couple of the Denman boys are feeling the pinch now. Let's be honest. Jacob Ellis has given them a team talk in the in goal there, as Stubbs has. Brody Benkovic has done the same thing, trying to get their heads up, just do their very best, and see what comes out of this the last 34 minutes of this second half.
Yeah, I'm not so sure.
I see Tyson Wallace has come off the field. There's a few boys out there. In particular, I think Lukey Ruiz was holding a chest or an arm there only seconds ago, so he might be playing injured. Will Newhouse is going to move in, trying to convert this try. He does so again. Very, very clean kicker of the ball.
It was on a string, that ball then, and straight over the dot, and even with the wind didn't even deviate, so...
Sounds like the Red Dogs are on fire. That converted to Singleton to 52. Yeah, they get the score.
So Zach Webb's going to have the kick restart here. 52 points to nil. There's under 32 minutes to go. Puts it high, and Jake Smith's going to collect it on his own 10. Gives the ball on to Matty Brock, and Brock takes the ball forward. Gets up over his own 20. Gets to the 30. Jamie Carter makes the tackle. Here's Newhouse from dummy half, as he has done so very, very successfully all game from dummy half. He gets up over to his own 40, centre field. Rinkin at dummy half over to Tommy Johnson. Gives an unders run to Frank Paul. Frank Paul jinks at the defensive line. He's dragged down just shy of halfway by Nathan Bowery. They come down this very successful short side. Jake Smith short pass on to Matty Brock, and Matt Brock gives it on to Cody Argent. Goes through one, goes through another, and who's there? Who is that? It's Carl Bowd and also Lukey Ruiz make the tackle. They're 20 out from the Denman line. Ball goes long out to Jake Smith. On to Jake Hardy. Plenty of runners. Jake Hardy throws it and goes himself. Hit around the chest by John Paul and takes him down 15 metres. He had numbers out the outside. Here's Jake Smith inside to Brodie Rinkin. Gives it back on to Frank. No, that's Dale Watson. Dale Watson charges the line. He comes into Jamie Carter and he's hitting a good tackle. He's held up, the big fella. Only a metre or less than a metre out. Was that the last? Well, there you have it. They tackled for a good set of six there, the Denman boys, and Dale Watson. They had plenty of numbers. They probably should have scored on that set of six, Bailey.
Yeah.
They got a little bit of white line fever, I think, then the boys. A couple of poor options there, and when they were sending out wide, they're plenty. Maybe Jake Hardy had numbers out to his right.
I think Jake Hardy himself. I think he wanted to get on the scoreboard with all the other Singleton boys, so... But I'm sure they'll get down there again and get plenty more opportunities.
A couple of good runs here from the Denman boys. They got the ball 5 out from their own line. Good run from Benkovic. Good run from Nathan Bowery. And another good run from Jacob Ellis. And here's Benkovic. He puts the kick deep into the Singleton line. And that wind, can you believe that? That wind has taken that ball from about, let's say, 60 metres out and that wind got that ball and dragged it over the dead ball. So unfortunately for the Devils, the Singleton boys are going to have a full set of 7. Here's James Bradley with the tap restart from the 20-metre line. He goes into the Denman defence. He's tackled by Carter and also Tommy Mann, third, 28 metres out centre field. There's the, what do they call that? Mousetrap, and Ethan Coe's got the ball. He goes sideways. He gets through 1. He gets through 2. And he's at halfway. Good tackle by young Andy Parks. He's up over halfway. Will Newenhouse with the ball. Goes in behind the ruck. Shrugs off 1. Shrugs off 2. He comes to the winger, Andrew Charter. He tries to stumble him down, but he gets up again. Will Newenhouse. He comes to Jackie Mann, and Jackie Mann makes a tackle. Well done, Manny. He's 28 metres out from the Denman line. Ball goes out to Matty Brock, and Matty Brock runs forward. Good tackle from Bowdy. No, that's Tommy Mann around the legs. Quick play the ball onto Frank Paul. Short pass to Jake Hardy. Another short pass to Dale Watson. Numbers out to the right. Oh, and they bomb it. Luke Gardner fumbles the ball from Dale Watson, and that had try written all over it. And thankfully for the Denman boys, that didn't amount to anything. Luke Gardner dropped that ball cold as a spud, 3 or 4 metres out from the Denman line in that far corner.
He'd be filthy with himself there. He would have loved to score a try on Old Boys Day.
Matty Brock has come off. Who's gone back on? Dale Watson. I think Watto's just gone back on. He's Denman with a scrum food, 10 metres out from their own line. Let's see if I don't think they've been in. I
think this is the first time Denman's had the ball, besides the kick before.
Yeah, maybe in the last. Yeah. Unfortunately for them, that ball went over the dead ball line. Here's Jacob Ellis from the scrum base, gives it on to John Paul, and John Paul tries to go forward, and he's hitting a good tackle there by Dale Watson. No, that's Cody Argent. My apologies. Ball goes on to Jack Mann, and young Mann. He is another junior, Bailey. Jackie Mann. 3 juniors in the side that played today. Good run. He's on to Jacob Ellis. Jacob Ellis gives it on to Jamie Carter. He's charging forward. He's up over his own 20, 25 metres out from his own line. Ball goes to Jacob Ellis, who swoops around from the left-hand side and gives it on to Benkovic, and Benkovic's tackled on the 30. Round the legs was Jake Smith. Here's Jacob Ellis. Jacob Ellis takes off from dummy half. Hasn't got a lot of options, Jakey Ellis. He gives the ball out the back to Tommy Mann. Over the top, and the ball goes through the winger's legs. It went over John Paul's head, through the winger's leg, Jai Sinclair into touch, so it's going to be a scrum feed to the Singleton Greyhounds. What do we say, 25 out from their Denman line, Bailey?
As I said, Denman's just got to try and do whatever they can, play some footy, have a bit of fun with it now, but the game's well and truly over. But they just can't be disheartened with themselves.
No, look, you can see here, look at the Singleton back line from this scrum feed. They're lining up here. They're dead set lining up. Ball goes down that short side. There's a bit of a trick ploy there. Goes to Jake Hardy from the scrum foot. He beats 1, he beats 2. He comes to Jacob Ellis, and also young Jai Sinclair comes again with a good tackle. Ball goes out. They're only a couple of metres out onto Dale Watson. No, who's number 17? And that is Nelson Gardner. He is only just shy of the try line. Brody Rinkin at dummy half. He'll be looking for his 5th try here, Brody Rinkin. That's a shock and play the ball, but Jesse Rudder is saying that there was hands in the ruck there when he attempted to play it. No, there was a foot. He indicated a kick as he put the ball down. Don't think Denman's got too many penalties here today, Bailey. From the quick tap restart, Brody Rinkin takes off. He runs into John Paul, and I think Tommy Mann's out there as well. Only a couple of metres shy of the Denman line. TJ at dummy half, long pass out to that short line. It goes on to Jake Hardy, and Hardy tries to scramble over the try line. He's held up 2 or 3 players onto him. One of them was number 3, Johnny Paul. He's held up. Ball goes out the back to James Bradley, on to Frank Paul, who's standing wide. He's got through, full of run, and he steps off his left. He's holding the ball one-handed. He comes to defence, gives it out, back out to James Bradley, on to Jakey Smith, on to Will Newenhouse, into the winger, Morgan Emmety, who dives and scores in the corner. 56 points to 0 with 25 minutes to go here in the round 11 Bengalla Group 21 clash. Just too good a hands there. Frank Paul turned him inside out there a little bit, Bailey, and then give it to a couple of players wrapping around. That was very good, and Frank Paul's just doing what he can here today. He's not exerting himself too much, is he?
Well, yeah, he's just in the middle of the field there, done about 2 360s and holding the ball one-handed, making it, as we said before, look like a tennis ball. And easy offload, and they just kept on rolling with it, and then Morgan Ebony scores in the corner untouched.
Well, the defence from Denman was good out that left-hand side from that scrum base. I just see Luke Roos from Denman. He's come off the field, and he looks a little bit dodgy, Roosie. So he's carrying an injury. It's the last thing Denman want at this stage, another injury.
Especially to the halfback.
Fair income. We're already down a hooker. Now they're down a halfback.
What's the diagnosis with Gretsch? Is that the year?
Look, I don't know, Bailey. It'll be interesting to see what Gretchy does with himself. You know, when
Poor
it's all
bastard,
said and done, if there's... I know Gretchy will want to get back for the minor semi-final, let's be honest. Denman's aspirations at this stage, they at the very least, they will have a minor semi-final, go their way. So you never know. Miracles can happen, and if they can get a lot of their first graders back and on the day, you just never know, mate.
You backing him here, Benko?
I am backing Will Newhouse to convert this. 25 out from the sideline. He strikes it. It's faded away.
Too easy.
It's over the post. 58 points to 0. I told you. Didn't I tell you? Got a smile on his face, young Will, as well, right in front of the old boys. I tell you what, there's some money passed around in the old boys' tent, Bailey. Done well, Will Newhouse. I don't think he's missed one. Yes, he's missed one.
He missed one, yeah.
He's only missed one. 58 points to 0 here. 23 minutes to go. And all I can say to the Denman boys is hold your heads up, fellas. We've got 3 juniors in the side, no less than about 9 reserve graders from yesterday, and I think the only 4 regular first graders in this side here right now is young Benko, Jacob Ellis, Zachy Webb, and Jacob Ellis. I might have mentioned Jacob.
Yeah, you said him twice.
Tommy Mann. Yeah. Tommy Mann's the other one. So hats off to all those boys having a dig.
And Luke Rees.
And Reesy, yeah, who has gone off injured, but the rest of them are having a dig, and that's the thing that you'll see from Denman time and time again. They will have a dig, and you know, they're doing their very best. Here's big Nelson Gardner charging up over the 40-metre line. Here's got a full back line. Frank Paul gets the ball. He charges at the Denman defence, hands the ball off, and gives it to James Bradley. James Bradley's scooted down. Frank Paul gets the ball again. He's come back again. He's through one tackle. He's got plenty of numbers out there to the right. He gives a flick pass back inside to Benkovic. The ball goes to Grion. Is that a knock on? Yes, it is. I said Benko there, Bailey, because he was chasing there as Frank Paul was feeding him. How small does that ball look in Frank Paul's hand?
His fingers would be nearly be able to touch each other around the ball.
Seriously, I've never seen. He's running like a halfback. Then he's just flick passing it back inside, left, right, and centre from Frank Paul. He's having a blinder out there because he's just so hard to tackle. So hard to tackle, and James Bradley is following him like, you know, fair income. Jimmy Bradley,
as any good fullback would do, especially with Frank Paul, the way he's holding the ball.
Interesting to see what Jai Bailey does with the Singleton side closer to the semi-finals. This is definitely a test for them to see how they gel in those roles. And the way James is going, Bailey, he's been outstanding.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how this Singleton side goes against the likes of a strong Scone team or Aberdeen, because let's be honest, there's not much competition here today to really see if the teams for Singleton's going well, so throw a bit of competition in front of them and it might be a different story. But
yeah, look, you know, I think looking at the sides today, there's no question Singleton, you know, they're entitled to put a lot of numbers here on Denman today, and they're doing their very best. Andrew Charters takes the ball up inside his own 30 before Brody Rinkin strips him one-on-one, and Brody Rinkin gets the ball here, and he finds it inside Denman's 30 onto Zach Solomon. Solomon runs at the Denman line, and he's tackled about inside the 10. Rinkin at dummy half again. And he gets the ball and he gives a short pass on to Nelson Gardner. His weight and his forward momentum has nearly carried him over the line, but really good tackle there by the boys. Brody Rinkin has just darted out a dummy half, as you showed me the Scone score line, and there his fifth try. Super sub Brody Rinkin darts out a dummy half and scores underneath the post for the Greyhounds, and that'll take it 62 points to 0 with just under 20 minutes to go here in the Bengalla Group 21 round 11 clash.
Do they get the ton, Benko?
Well, mate, who knows? Look, it's it might please a lot of people to see this score line. There's no question, but as a father of a son that's out there playing and knowing what the Denman boys are going through right now, all I can say is the guys are having a dig. They're doing their best, and I think no one will we can't deny Singleton victory. They're just going through their motions, and they're playing quite well. Their go-forward's outstanding. Their ball work's exceptional. But you've got 8 or 9 players backing up from yesterday, and 3 juniors in the side that played earlier today, and 4 regular first graders. It's not a lot of effort in terms of the guy. It's a big effort, I should say, but they wouldn't have had a trainer run this week. They wouldn't have had a trainer run with that side this week, unfortunately, with the way things have panned out.
Well, I think when I was talking to Gretchy before, he was saying that a bit of kick tennis was played because of the numbers at training, a bit of 3-on-3 kick tennis at training.
Will Newhouse makes no mistake with that conversion, 64 points to 0. We have 18 minutes of play left in this second half. Jay Shepherdson's out there. I think Jay might want to get involved there at the moment. He's if he had boots, he'd probably have a run around.
Conversion successful by Will Newhouse.
You know what, Bailey? I mean, no one likes to see the big score blowouts. Maybe a few people would be happy with it, but certainly, I take my hat off to the Denman side for the efforts they're showing and the blokes that are stepping up to the mark today, mate. And that, really, I can't say any more than that. Short kick-off from Zachy Webb, gives it on to, Lukey Gardner went out and he's called it come off the feet. Luke Gardner picks it up. Jacob Ellis in hot pursuit. He goes at Lukey Gardner and he tries to drag him over the sideline to no avail.
He's gone out.
To Brody Rinkin. What's he called there? He went into touch. Well, let's call that from the kick-off. Zach Webb tried a short kick-off. Jacob Ellis was in hot pursuit. It barely went to 10, but it did. It came off, Luke Gardner came in to collect it. It actually came off Luke Gardner's feet. He went about 3 or 4 metres. He picked it up and ran 40 metres. Jacob Ellis in hot pursuit and did wrestle him over the sideline before he tried to give it back inside to that super sub Brody Rinkin. And Denman will have a scrum feed inside their own 20, about 18 metres out from their own line. That was another very interesting play, Bailey.
Denman's just got to try whatever they can at this stage. They're obviously Webby with them short kickoffs, Jacob flying onto him. 9 times out of 10, Jacob probably catch that ball.
Here's Jacob Ellis, gets the ball onto Jack Mann. Jack Mann from the scrum feed. It was a real ordinary couple of passes there, but anyway, they've got the ball. Jackie Mann give it on to Andy Parks. Here's Zach Webb from the dummy half. He takes it out from his own 20 and he's manhandled there by Jake Smith and also Will Newhouse, 23 metres out from their own line. Here's Nathan Bowery trying to get some go forward happening, and then he's hitting a good tackle by Frank Paul and Nelson Gardner. No ground made. Carl Bowd from dummy half onto Benkovic. Benkovic comes the short side. He goes forward. Good run from young fella. He's up to about just shy of the 40. Jacob Ellis with the ball now inside to Clayton Edwards, that is. And that, I think that's Clayton's first run of the game. He's just over the 40. He didn't fall too well there, Clayton. He's going to get up and play the ball. It's the last onto Jacob Ellis. Tries the big midfield bomb. The ball's going to be held up in the air. Jimmy Bradley's under it. Sakes, it's safe as a bank, Jimmy Bradley. He's around the field. He's up to the 40. He's up over halfway. He's over the 40. He's over the 30. Plenty of room to move. He comes to Zach Webb and Jimmy Bradley's going to go around and score all the way under the post. He collected that ball, Watt Bailey, on his own 25-metre line area and ran wide straight away, young Jimmy Bradley, and was rewarded with a sensational solo effort. 68 points to nil, under 15 minutes to go here. Directly in front, Will Newhouse will attempt this conversion.
Well, if you're going to put them midfield bombs up, you need a good kick chase, and there was none. There was no chase. Jake Wells put the kick up, and he was the first one down there, and he had no one else supporting him, and especially kicking it to James Bradley, he's got to run circles around you if there's no chase. So a bit disappointing there from Denman, but
well, James can sniff out a gap, and on that occasion he just took the ball and he cleared out right to the right-hand side of the field, and all the Denman players had formed their defensive line, you know, virtually in the middle of the park, and Jimmy Bradley's got some really good speed too off the mark, James, and he made the most of that and just ran out the sideline. And once they got around Jacob, there was only Webby to beat, wasn't there? And poor old Webby did his very best to stop that try. And I see Ethan Coe just had a conversion and made no mistake with it. What's the score? 68 points to nil.
70-0 now.
70-0. So I see Singleton have brought a lot of their subs on. Who's off at the moment? I think TJ's off. Let's see who's on. Matty Brock is back on. Cody Argent, I think, is still on. Nelson Gardner's still on. No, Cody Argent is off the field at the moment, so we'll get to him anyway. Here's Benkovic with the kick restart. Ball goes down, it's along the ground. He's looking to try and find touch, but now Jake Hardy picks it up on a real good bounce. Jakey Hardy, did he drop that ball in that play there? He didn't, no. He's up. 30 out from his own line onto Matty Brock, and Brock goes forward and runs into Benkovic, and Benkovic takes him in a good one-on-one tackle. 35 out from the Singleton line. Here's Zach Solomon. Zach Solomon runs forward. He's up over his own 40. He's tackled by Nathan Barry, and down below, just shy of the 50, the halfway line, on the Rinkin, onto Jake Smith, cut out past to Will Newhouse. Will Newhouse comes to Andrew Charters, and Andrew Charters wrestles him down. Good tackle from the young fella. I think he got a one-on-one strip there. No, he didn't. Gets up and plays the ball out to Jake Smith. Jake Smith gives a long pass out to Frank Paul. He likes that area out there. Frank Paul, no one's near him. He gets it on to James Bradley. James Bradley goes through one, gives it on to Luke Gardner. Luke Gardner gives it on to Ethan Coe, and Ethan Coe's just trying to get over the line. He reaches out and puts it down over the try line for another Singleton Greyhound try. Frank Paul's found his niche out there on the fringe, Bailey.
He's got to have glue on his hands or something, surely.
Well, fair dinkum, when he grabs it hard, and a good effort by young John Paul, the young Denman centre. He wrapped him up there, but as he was getting it, he unloaded the ball there, and Singleton just had too many numbers down that right-hand side of the field. It's 74 points to nil here in favour of the Singleton Greyhounds, with 11 minutes to go here in the Group 21 Bengalla clash, round 11 clash. Not many of these youngsters here, Bailey, and the Denman side would have been familiar with a scoreline of this magnitude, but you've got to put it down to a life experience, I suppose.
Yeah, it's not the way you'd like to debut your first grade game, getting this sort of score put on you, but props to them. No one else has stood up and done it, and they're the ones that have been asked to step up and play first grade for their first game, so well done to them boys. But yeah, you don't like to see, well, I definitely wouldn't like to get this score put on me in my first grade debut, that's for sure.
Not in a competition that we only have 4 teams to start with, mate.
Yeah, that's it.
You know, right now, I know injuries hit Singleton hard over the last month as well. They seem to have all but maybe 3 or 4 or 3 back, maybe 4 of their top-notch squad. But Denman, this is, I've never seen a more depleted side. But I echo your sentiments indeed, and I've said it a number of times already today. These guys are just having a real good dig, and unfortunately on the back end of a very good running Singleton side, here's Will Newhouse. He's going to try and convert this try. He moves in. He stabs that. That's his worst attempt today. What was that? Would you say that's a lob wedge attempt? I think he took more. He took more of the
Kicked the tee.
He kicked the tee. The tee went further than the ball on Will Newhouse.
I do think that was.
Sorry, babe.
I said I do think that kick was into the breeze, but so might give him benefit of the doubt there. He's
Will's going to use that as an excuse. I can just see it. 74 points to nil. We've got under about 9.5 minutes to go. By the time the kick restarts happens, we're going to have under 9 minutes to go in this round 11 clash. I don't think Denman have been inside the Singleton 20 this half.
I think they touched the ball probably twice, had two sets.
Here's a short kick off to Denman. It goes backwards. And Tommy Mann gets a good kick off from Benkovic, and the bounce goes Denman way. Here's the second occasion of the match that they've been inside the 30. Tommy Mann's up, slow to play the ball. Frank Paul was all over him. Here's John Paul from dummy half, dances out. He goes forward. He's hit by 3 Singleton defenders. Just shy of the Singleton 20. Jacob Ellis at dummy half. What's Jacob going to do? Gives a short pass on to Tommy Mann. All these young boys have tried their heart out today. Here's Carl Bowd at dummy half. Gives the ball on to Zachy Webb. Webb's inside the 20. Gets to a wall of Singleton defenders. Flicks it out the back to Tommy Mann. If they can just hang on to it for this set of 6, they'll do exceptionally well. They're centre field, 15 out from the Singleton line. Bowdy at dummy half. On to Jacob Ellis. Jacob Ellis looks for an inside ball. Goes out the back to Benkovic. Benkovic steps through 1. Steps through 2. He goes to the corner. He's dragged down 5 metres out on the last. Andrew Charters at dummy half. No. Bowdy pushes him out of the way. Ball goes out the back to Jacob Ellis. Jacob Ellis is looking to kick it. No, he doesn't. He dummies. Flicks the ball back inside to Benkovic. Benkovic dragged over. Touch. There's nothing there the boys could do, but they chance their arm. Well done to the boys who are trying something in that far corner here from Jacob and young Benko.
I was just about to say, surely Denman can get a consolation try on the board at least. At least get 4 or 6 points on there instead of the 0, but
yeah. Good run from Nelson Gardner out there on the restart. Good tackle from Jackie Mann and also Carl Bowd. Here's James Bradley. They've got numbers down that right-hand side. They're full of running. Ball goes on to Jake Hardy. Jake Hardy gets to the position. He kicks the ball on the 30-metre line. James Bradley in hot pursuit, but it goes over his head. And don't let it run. Kick it over the sideline. There was an accidental offside for the Denman boys there. The ball bounced backwards after that kick there, Bailey, and Jimmy Bradley was in hot pursuit. But anyway, we're going to have a quick tap restart here by the Singleton. We'll get onto that later. 7 minutes to go. It's 74 points to nil in favour of the Singleton side. Jake Hardy wants a quick tap restart. He gives the ball out to the back to Matty Brock, and Brock runs the ball towards the goalpost, and he's held up by Andrew Charters and also another player there. I can't see who that is. Ball goes, quick play the ball onto Nelson Gardner. He charges over next to the upright and scores his first try of the day here. It's 78 points to nil. It'll soon be 80 because Will Newhouse will not miss that kick at goal from that position. We've got 6.5 minutes to go here in this match.
It's not the same, but it's still 7 under.
Well, another unfortunate bounce here, Bailey. Poor old Denman, they just can't crack it, can they?
Yeah, no, they can't get a break today, Denman.
Not even the bouncers going their way.
Well, as they say, Banco, when you're on, you're on. So,
Got to get the ball in the hole. That's all you got to do. No matter how you play the game.
That's right, Singleton number 17, Nelson Gardner. In the Mark Newman Homes number.
well, this is definitely the biggest scoreline I've ever seen in this sort of competition.
Yeah, we've had a couple of blowouts in years gone by when most of the other sides have had a rebuild, so to speak. I know Denman have been on the end of a couple of massive score lines. I know Musselbrook a few years ago, and maybe in the late 90s, early 2000s, they were copping dead set hidings when they had bugger all players available as well. I think Aberdeen went for a period there in the last decade of maybe having 2 draws only in a 3-year period. So it's unfortunate, mate. It really is unfortunate in a 4-team competition, but it is what it is, and what can they do? he had no problems with that conversion. It's 80 points to nil here with under 5 minutes to go here in this Group 21 Round 11 Bengalla clash. I think is Will Newhouse looking like he's hobbling there, Bailey?
I think he might have just tripped in a rabbit hole or something.
I think it happened when he went to the second last conversion, mate. I think he belted
when he kicked the ground.
He kicked the ground before the ball. Here's Benkovic. I reckon he's going to go for another short kick-off, Bailey. What do you reckon, mate? He does. He does.
Yeah, good bounce.
Yes, he does. It bounced. Can you believe it? It bounced inside the 10 and went over the line, and Jackie Mann picked the ball up. Carl Bowd from dummy half. Denman on the attack. Gives it on to Jamie Carter, centre field, 32 metres out from the Singleton line. Can they finish with a try? We have 4 minutes to go. Jacob Ellis out the back to, who's that, Jai Sinclair, the young winger, and he gets inside the Singleton 30. John Paul at dummy half. He'll go himself, Johnny Paul, as he does. There he goes. He gets to the 20. He's manhandled by Luke Gardner, who drags him back 3 metres, so he didn't get to the 20. Carl Bowd at dummy half. Long pass out to Jacob Ellis. Jacob Ellis gives a pass short to Jamie Carter, and he gets just shy of the 20. It's the last. Geez, that set of 6 went quick, Bailey. Ball goes to Jacob Ellis. Jacob Ellis gets the ball out to Benkovic. Benkovic strips it down. That should be 6 to go. Got to be 6 to go because Jake Smith dragged it out of his hands. It gets to Will Newhouse. No, what's he going to say? Double knock on. I thought that was a strip, and maybe Denman could have got the run of the 50-50 there from Jesse Rudder, because that was stripped, and it was stripped out towards the Singleton try line. I thought that was an incorrect ruling from my call, but I'm only looking for a Denman try to try and.
Well, the ref really hasn't had to do much today, has he?
No, he hasn't, mate.
Easy payday for the ref, Jesse there.
Zach Simon's going to do the play the ball, restart on his own 20. Just waiting for Will Newhouse to get on side, I think Zach Simon is. Good break for the Denman boys. On to Nelson Gardner. Gardner charges at the defence. There's 2.5 minutes to go. 28 out, centre field from his own line. There's another try here for the Singleton boys, and they're looking for it. Look at that. James Bradley gets the ball. He gets tackled by Jacob Ellis. He's done a ton of work, those older, more experienced boys here today. They've tried everything they can. Jimmy Bradley tackled. There, here's the ball from Singleton. They're inside the Denman 40. He goes through one, and that's Matty Brock, and he's tackled on the Denman 30. Gets up, quick play the ball. They got numbers to the left here. Jake Hardy, short pass to Solomon. Solomon runs into one, beats two, beats three. He's going to go and score in the corner, Zachy Solomon, and Benko's trying to come across, but to no avail. He didn't go into touch, and he scored right in the corner, Zach Solomon. Well, there you go. The big fella's finally on the board.
Well, that was a winger's finish there by the big fella.
He's been looking for that try like that for years, Zach Solomon, and he finally got it.
And that'll probably just about do it there, Benko, I'd say.
Well, it would have been quite easy for the Denman side to pull up stumps. On that occasion, there's just too many missed tackles there, and the Singleton boys just running right here. Jimmy Bradley at full ball over there, Bailey, when he got that ball on the 40 was outstanding. But Jacob Ellis grabbed him and dragged him down, and he's probably the only guy on the Denman side right now that could probably match him for speed, and that was Jacob Ellis. Well, we've got Ethan Coe going to try and convert this try here. 1 metre in from touch, 22 metres out from the Denman line. He's going to try and convert this try. It's under a minute to go. 84-0. He hooks it. It's waved away. And that'll see. They will not restart that. And here they come. That's full time. There's still 40 seconds to go, but the Denman boys will not want to kick off. I'll leave it at that. What is it, 88 points to nil? And I think they're shaking Corey Martin's hand. Jesse Rudder's standing in the sideline there. They've tried their very best, the Denman boys. Full marks to them. They never gave up at the very least. They all put a dig in. And for the Singleton side, very, very impressive indeed. The running game was outstanding. And I think the full marks today goes to Brodie Rinkin's performance. The super sub, 5 tries from the bench, Bailey.
Well, yeah, Jai Bailey might be considering even starting him next week from that performance and leaving TJ at the lock position, there's definitely a few options there for Dry Bailey there to consider, but especially coming towards the back end of the year. So it'll be interesting to see.
They've certainly got something to work on, and
Yeah.
you know the thing about Singleton is that the two sides in front of them right now will be looking over their shoulder, because this Singleton side with a full squad on deck, watch out Aberdeen and watch out Scone, because these boys were full of running today, and if you've got a sub like Brody Rinkin coming off the bench and can sniff out a gap everywhere on the field, outstanding stuff from the Singleton side. Full marks to the Denman boys. They tried their guts out and unfortunately went down, 84 or 88 points to nil today?
84.
84 points to nil. In the round 11 Bengalla Group 21 clash. We'll wrap it up here. Big thank you to Bailey Ellis, and a big thank you to Mitchell Stocker on the camera, and not the greatest of days, but it's our boys down here in Singleton, and I'm sure all the fellas down here had a great day. Well done to the Singleton Greyhounds, and we'll catch up with you on the couch on Thursday night.